Hello everyone. Sir Winston Churchill has been described as one of Britain's greatest leaders. When he returned to his old school, he gave some wise words of wisdom in a school assembly. He said, never give up. Never, never give up. Never, never, never give up. He was marked by great perseverance and a dogged determination to keep going in World War II. His commitment to his mission reminds me of a greater commitment and a greater mission, that of Caleb, of whom we read of in the Bible in Numbers chapter 13 and 14. God gave Caleb and his colleagues a mission to check out the land God had promised to his people as a great gift. And I'm sure we do know the story, but 10 of the colleagues saw all the problems and the barriers and difficulties and wanted to give up and head back to Egypt. And what's more, they stirred up the whole community of the Israelites, and they too grumbled and complained and wanted to head back to Egypt too. So how does Caleb react to such fierce opposition and what then degenerated into outright rebellion against God's plan? Caleb was a man like King David, a man after God's heart. The meaning of Caleb's name is wholehearted, and he certainly lived up to that. He was a man who loved and followed the Lord with all his heart. Caleb says, if the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Caleb's eyes were fixed on his God, our God, your God, and not men or the problems. Why? Because he had a very clear understanding that God's voice was the only voice that really mattered out of all the other voices shouting their opinion. God's voice is the only voice that's worth listening to, for it will always be marked with truth, love, compassion, goodness, grace, and mercy. Caleb had faith in God. His God was so much bigger than the giants and the problems that the people faced. Caleb trusted God's plan. He was resting in God's promise for the gift of this land. And the way ahead perhaps didn't seem to make sense to the Israelites, but God was not calling them to try and make sense of it all. He was calling them to trust him and to follow him. So what is the lesson for us today? Let us learn from Caleb when we face difficulties and the challenges of life that might seem to overwhelm us, like the giants of the land in Caleb's day. Whatever they might be, God calls us to trust him and not to fear. Joni Eareckson says, faith isn't the ability to believe long and far into the misty and distant future. Faith is about simply taking God at his word and taking the next step. God is a rock in times of trouble, so let's look to God in faith, for he is greater than our lives, greater than the challenges we face. God never promises an easy ride in life, but he calls us to trust him, to trust that his word is truth. Caleb's God is our God. He's your God tonight. So trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. He will direct your paths. That's from Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. Thank you.